Timbo is tough, man, and I ain't kidding. I recommend you 9 ball players play more 10 ball. That one extra ball on the table makes it seem like 4 or 5 extra balls. It's just that the table just appears suddenly so clustered and complicated that it really forces you to bear down that much more, which will make your 9 ball game even better. Usually the hardest thing about rotation pool is just getting started, getting from the 1 to the 2 to the 3 and just getting rolling. In this case, it's relatively easy. The hard part of this game is at about the halfway point and getting from the 4 to the 5. That's the big deal here. And then if you get right on the 5, then you have to stay on the right hand side of the table for the 5, 6, 7, and 8. And the 6 to the 7 is a touchy issue that you're going to watch me screw up. But, we screw up sometimes, and that's, there's something to learn here, and that's why I do this. So let's take a look at this graphic. And if we know that the 4 to the 5 is the problem, then we know we need to be somewhere around here for the 4 ball to just put a little bottom right on it and come back in this area here. And the reason this is such a problem is because of that side pocket. We need to stay away from that side pocket, and I think I'm going to go long instead of coming up short in this area. So if we know what we're doing from the 4 to the 5, we can see it's best to shoot the 1 and get in this area for the 2, so we can just roll up a little bit or get right on the 3 in order to get the right position on the 4 ball. But it's not over. We need to get right on the 6. I prefer to be straight in on the 6 to just draw back a little bit for the 7 ball, but not too much, because if we bounce off that rail, we're going to get bad on the 8. So again, we need to stay on the right hand side of the table to finish this game, and this is why this rack is harder than it looks. Once we get past the 8, and if we get anywhere decent on the 8, we can easily get on the 9, and we're right there for the 10 ball. So the end of the game is pretty easy. The beginning of the game is easy. It's all the stuff in the middle that's driving us nuts. And let's go ahead and see what I did. So we learned in that first rack that the key was to get from the 4 to the 5, which was easier imagined and easier said than done. And there's always one of these in a 10 ball rack. So when you played 9 ball your whole life, you start getting used to breaking the balls, uh, figuring out what the pattern is, and figuring out what you're going to do, and then you just kind of tune out and use your subconscious to go ahead and run the rack because you've already seen it. So your subconscious believes that you've already done it, and now we're just waiting for your body to get down and do it. But with 10 balls, things get a little more complicated to where at least once a rack, you're like, oh, wait a minute. I want to have to stop and think about this, and I want to have to shoot this perfect in order to run this rack. And this is the big difference between 9 ball and 10 ball. I promise you, if you played 9 ball your whole life, you get used to breaking the balls, picturing the rack, and figuring out what you're going to do, and now you're just going to get down and do it. But with 10 ball, it says, whoa, wait a minute, we got another ball here. And this is really, it's like relearning the whole game to where you have to slow down. You can't rely on your rhythm anymore. Yeah, that's what it does. It breaks your rhythm and it makes you think, kind of like 8 ball does, to where you're always having to think throughout the game. And it's no longer like a drug that takes you away from life and everything, all your problems and everything else, and it snaps you back to reality. So what is the big problem with this rack coming up, this next rack of 10 ball? And let's go figure it out. If we take a look at the 9 to the 10 ball, we can see it's absolutely simple. We can use this right hand side rail to get back like this on the 10 ball. Or we could even get straight in on the 9 ball and just pull back a couple inches and be straight in on the 10. So the last 2 balls are easy. The problem is getting the right position on the last 2 balls, and making that difficult is where the 8 ball is and where the 7 ball is in order to get to the 8 in order to get the right position on the 9 ball. And all that's going to be determined by where we get on the 5. So let's take all the beginning balls off up to the 5 and leave the rest and see how we're going to do this. For me, in my own personal game, it's best for me to get on this angle right here for the 7 ball in order to get right on the 8 ball. So we have to go back to the 6 ball and decide how we're going to do that on the 7 ball. And we can pinpoint it right here by being at this angle on the 6 to go off the rail and come back up table to get perfect on the 7 ball. So we need to get right on the 5 in order to get right on the 6 in order to get back up table on the 7 ball at the right angle. Again, that's key to get to the 8 ball. And when this comes up, you're going to see me shoot the 7 ball almost too good. And believe it or not, at that angle, I managed to get a little bit on the right hand side of the 8 ball, and we wind up like this. So now I could change the plan and decide to shoot the 9 ball down or up table in this right hand corner pocket in order to get on the 10 ball. But I don't like that idea, because if I don't shoot this 8 ball perfect, I'm going to wind up in a position of scratching in that side pocket and developing some other kind of semi-desperate plan. So I'm sticking with my plan, and I'm trying to pull this cue ball back into the position that I decided to be on the 9 ball to get right on the 10 ball. Yeah, you'll see it go a little bit wrong in the coming video, but what the most important part here, because I'm not actually in a match, is training my brain to think right and to see the whole table and to see the pattern, and especially figure out what we're going to do on the tough part of the pattern in order to win this game. So as a quick recap, this was the plan. This plan goes a bit awry when I shoot the 7 ball and get bad on the 8 ball. asking where I've been, I just took about a week and a half off, and I haven't really taken anything off. I'm still playing. It's just I haven't been making as many YouTube videos because usually when I'm out there, I'm in action now. And I just got a little bit burned out on the YouTube thing. But I'm just kind of waiting for re-inspiration and bring you guys something bigger and something better. Just got a little bit old, that's all, and my last few videos did not perform well, and that was kind of discouraging. I've also been working on my other channel, and that's coming along okay. It could be better, so I want to start promoting that. Not here, outside of YouTube and more on the other social networks. But I'm still here, I'm still playing, I'm still doing what I do. I couldn't imagine, not playing pool. It would be, it would be unnatural for me not to play pool. So I'm still playing, still grinding, still in action, still doing what I do.